Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
Well, finally, I'm going to talk about something that you want to hear about. Some of you have been waiting years for this. How to change other people. Because you know you want to. You're the one who knows what they should be doing. You're the one who knows their flaws and what would help them be more enlightened, be more kind, be more loving, be more prosperous, be more healthy. And often, you, me, we, the I that is we, share that with them. I try to do it more subtly. I try to do it more generally so that you don't really know that I'm talking to you. But then in the line, you'll come through and go, God, you were talking right to me. And I'm going, I know. How do you change other people? Well, there are good, tried and true things that we can use. We can use manipulation. We can use control. We can use covert aggression, or we can use overt aggression. That happens a lot with parent-child relationships. You can try to force someone to be the way that you want them to be, but then we go into some kind of a self-help program, whether it's science of mind, or going into therapy, or going into some kind of a 12-step program, or the partners therein. We go into some kind of a personal growth process, and what we learn, darn, is we can't change anybody. So, how to change other people? The disappointing fact is you can't. And then we have to live with that. And we have to live with it inside of ourselves, because in science of mind, what we teach is that everything on the outside is a reflection of the inside, which is great as long as the inside is prosperous and loving and joy-filled, and our aura is fluffed, and we're just a radiant beam of love light. And then all the outside is a reflection of how wonderful I am, and that's great. Until the outside doesn't look so hot. And then we have to see that everything on the outside is a reflection of the inside, so if I want to change somebody else, who's got to change? Me. Because the very fact that I want to change you means that I've stepped out of oneness, I've moved into judgment, I'm criticizing, and now in class, you know, we're on our 30-day of complaint-free living. I'm on day 3. I'm very proud of myself today. We started 5 days ago, 6 days ago, 7 days ago, and I'm back on day 3, so I'm really hanging on to that. So as soon as I see you as someone who needs to change, I've let go of my sense that God is all there is, Spirit is all there is, love is all that there is, and everybody is a reflection of that Spirit, love, God, presence. No, you need to change. Now the funny thing about that is that when I look at you and say you need to be changed, or you need to change, I'm the one who's lost. I'm the one who's lost. And let me bring it a little closer to home. If you're in an intimate relationship with someone and you think they need to change, you are on thin ice in that relationship. I was sharing before the celebration that John will have been gone 2 months. By the time he comes back, he'll be back for the celebration and commitment dinner, but he would have been gone 2 months. And it would be really easy for me to move into this idea that says he needs to change. He needs to change jobs. And he needs to come back and be the co-founding minister of the Center for Spiritual Living, Asheville, and be here every week. That's what he needs to do so that I will feel a certain way. And I tell you, that's thin ice. Because if we cannot look at our partner and say, what I want for you more than anything else is your happiness and your joy, then what in the world are we doing being in a relationship? And I I know you'll say, well, I grew up with mom and dad, and they were all about control and manipulation and covert aggression and overt aggression and trying to change other people and criticizing and complaining, so that's what I think a relationship is. Your days of that excuse are over. They came out that came over in the 70s with the self-help movement. Now you know that you can't just copy someone else's relationship and use that as an excuse that you are the way that you are because of your childhood, you are the way that you are because of your parents, you are the way that you are because the world is at times crazy. That's not an excuse. You don't get to do that anymore. What we get to do is live our lives as powerful, creative, spiritual beings and see that in everybody else. And then the magic starts to happen. Because once we see that inside of ourselves and we look at it in our world, then the outer reflects the inner. And so then we have a world, people with powerful, creative, spiritual beings, so that we look at somebody and go, I know that you may be having a bump in the road, but I know that there's a power and a presence within you that's going to triumph over this. There's a blessing in here. Only good can come from this, and yay! People hate it when they come to see me and I do that. They come with such a great story. I've been fired. I go, yay! You didn't want that job anyway. If you had really wanted it, you would have kept it. If it was yours, you would have kept it. That which is yours cannot be taken from you. That which is not yours, you cannot keep. They left me. I'll go, yay! They did for you what you didn't have the courage to do for yourself. I'm going bankrupt. Yay! Bankruptcy is simply legal forgiveness. How can that be bad? I mean, how can legal forgiveness be a terrible thing? People go, I'm so ashamed. Don't be ashamed. Know that there is a power and a presence within you that is going to find the pony, turn it into lemonade, triumph over any obstacle, and that cannot be denied. Yay! Yeah! I love this teaching because you have no sin. It's great. You have no sin. You didn't do anything wrong. There's no hell. Gosh, who was it? 2 popes ago. They so convenient. No, not complaining. Okay, there is no heaven, there is no hell. And even way back with Pope John Paul, that's what was affirmed. He said heaven and hell are states of consciousness. Yes. The entire rest of the world picked that up except the U.S. It was not in a single U.S. paper. Isn't that interesting? Ooh, conspiracy theory powers that be. You can't change anybody else. The only thing that you can do is love them. And you know, when you love the people in your world, they become lovable, or, and this is one thing that is equally great, they leave. Because there's a vibration going on inside of you, and people either match that vibration or they run away from that vibration. Both are acceptable. Both are pluses, because you get to live in a world of powerful, creative, spiritual beings, beings of light and love and peace and joy, and that's your world. And so sometimes when people say, Barbara, why do some people leave the center? Well, I don't know, but I have some ideas. You stay here, you get happy. And there are people who have said, you people are just crazy. You are all too happy. I couldn't stand it. That's usually a couple of years later when they come back and say, I'm ready to be happy now. I was here a couple of years ago and I just couldn't stand it because everybody was so happy. You were all healthy and beautiful and prosperous and joyous, and I just had to leave. That's okay. You don't try to change them. I don't run after people. Sometimes people take that as a personal offense. They leave and I don't run after them. Why? Because I'm busy with you. I'm busy with the people who have stayed. And so if you don't want to be here, that's okay. I know that you're in your perfect and right place doing exactly what you need to do, that life is a blessing, you have the power of all creation within you, and you can do whatever you want to do, and if it's not be here, that's okay. But you didn't call me. Right, I was busy. I was busy with people who wanted to be here. Well, you're a terrible minister. Great. Yay! Jericho Whitaker said, what you think of me is none of my business. Isn't that great? So what you think of me is none of my business. What I think of me is my business. What you think of you is your business, and when you get that straight, you stop trying to change people. You stop trying to control and manipulate and use covert aggression or overt aggression to make people the way you think they should be. They shouldn't be that way. You should be that way. Wow, could you imagine if every time you said you should, you turned it around to I should? Oh, forget it. Don't even should on yourself. Say I will or I am. You really should be a nicer person. I am a nicer person. You really should be more spiritual. I am more spiritual. You really should have let me into traffic. I let everybody into traffic. I used to use traffic in Miami as spiritual practice. And I would give it to people for homework. They had to drive in southwest Miami between Miller Road and Bird Road on the streets, not on the freeways, not on the expressways, between 4 and 7. Non-stop. And they didn't get to get angry. And they got to practice that until they could do it without being angry. It was a very effective spiritual practice. Maybe that's why there's so much traffic down there now, is there are a lot of people practicing. You can't change anybody but yourself. But when you change yourself, everyone around you tends to change. They'll either come into alignment or they'll go away. We've seen that with schoolrooms. We've seen that with coaches. I remember watching, it's football season again, and I've got another month of cable. So I'm on the list, and I'm going to shut it off for a number of months unless John comes home and says, oh, no, you're not. But he'd have to be home to say that. Season again, and I remember it was a year or two, and whatever team lost the Super Bowl, they were talking to the press and they said, we just couldn't wrap our heads around it. We just couldn't wrap our heads around it. Wrap our heads around what? Wrap our heads around this belief that we could do it. So there's all of this evidence in sales, in sports, in teaching, that if you see people a certain way, they will become that way to you. And it is metaphysically correct also. If I see you in a certain way, you will be that way to me. Not necessarily to anyone else on the planet, but you will be that way to me because what you're doing is reflecting back the way I see me. So if I see me as this amazing, which I do, this amazing, fantastic, phenomenal person, you can just hardly keep me in here, then that's the way I see all of you. And people say to me, I just spent a week in LA with 200 of my minister friends and peers, and they say, how do you do what you do? You've only got 80,000 people in Asheville. And you're on 6 acres. You've got this beautiful facility. You've got a school. How do you do that? We're in a city of millions, and we're renting a storefront, and we can't even afford that. I do it by seeing power and prosperity and health and wholeness and love and joy in everyone around me. Why? Because that's what I see in me. So you can't come here and not move into that experience. You can't come here and not be healthier, be more prosperous, have better relationships, be more successful in life. It just can't happen. You may run out the door and say, these people are nuts, but that's just because you want to hold on to the life that you have. We have got something going on here. It vibrates, it moves, it lifts us, it inspires us, and the result of that is that our lives get better and better and better. Yeah. other the way we want to be seen. People say, oh, they don't respect me at work. And I say, well, you don't respect yourself. If you respected yourself, you would be in a workplace that respected you. It may or may not be the one that you're in. It doesn't matter. Well, I have a relationship where my partner is not honest with me. Well, you're not honest with yourself. If you were honest with yourself, I'm hearing almost an amen. If you were honest with yourself, your partner would be honest with you. Everything is a reflection of who we are. We live in a vibratory and reflective universe. Everything on the outside is a reflection on the inside. So be mindful of your complaining, because all you're doing is talking to yourself. I'll stand right here, David. All you're doing is talking to yourself every time the words come out of your mouth that the political ads are too negative. Barbara, I'm too negative, which means I am choosing to be positive. Oh, this person is fracking. The curse word now is fracking. Barbara, you are in harmony and operating at peace and joy in all areas. I know I'm pushing some buttons here. Oh, the economy, Barbara. You are a prosperous being, and you act that way. Oh, that person is just a nasty, dirty, rotten rackenfratchet. Barbara, you are a being of love and light, and you live in that awareness, and you see everyone else as that being of love and light. The truth is you can change people. All you have to do is change yourself. And so